Hello and welcome to Spoken English Academy. If you're looking to improve your spoken English skills through real, everyday conversations, you're in the right place. In today's episode, we'll be covering useful English sentences for travel, so the next time you're planning a trip, you'll feel more confident speaking in English. Whether it's asking for directions, ordering food, or checking in at the airport, these phrases will help you navigate your travels smoothly. So, let's dive in and get started. William, I finally did it. I booked my first international trip. I'm going to Spain next month. Can you believe it?
That's amazing, Sarah. Spain is such a beautiful country. The food, the culture, the history, you're going to have the time of your life. So, when exactly are you going, and where in Spain are you planning to visit?
I'm leaving in about 5 weeks. I'm flying into Madrid, spending a few days there, then heading down to Seville, and finally to Barcelona. I'm beyond excited, but at the same time I'm a little nervous. There's so much to think about: what documents I need, how to prepare for the culture shock, and how to make sure I don't forget anything important.
It sounds like you've got a fantastic itinerary planned. Don't worry, though I'll help you sort everything out. Let's start with the basics. Have you sorted out your passport?
Yes, I just got it renewed last month. I made sure it's valid for at least 6 more months, as I read that's usually required when traveling internationally. Is there anything else I need to check about my passport?
That's great. You're off to a good start. You're right, most countries do require your passport to be valid for at least 6 months from the date of entry. Spain is part of the Schengen area, so there are specific rules, but you're good with that passport validity. Have you thought about visas yet?
I did a little research and I think I don't need a visa because I'm only going for tourism and staying for less than 90 days. But I wasn't sure, do I still need some kind of permit or visa?
You're correct if you're going for tourism and staying for fewer than 90 days. You don't need a visa for Spain or any other Schengen country if you're from a visa-exempt country. Just make sure you have your return flight booked and proof of accommodation. Sometimes immigration officers may ask for that, just to confirm you're not planning to stay longer than permitted.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll make sure to keep printed copies of my itinerary and hotel bookings, just in case. What about health insurance? Is that necessary for Spain?
Yes, travel insurance is highly recommended. It's not mandatory to enter Spain, but having it is smart in case something happens. You never know when you might get sick or need medical care abroad. Make sure your travel insurance covers medical emergencies, trip cancellations, and lost or stolen luggage. It gives you peace of mind.
I'll definitely get travel insurance. I didn't even think about my luggage getting lost. Better safe than sorry, right? Now, about money. Do I need to exchange currency before I go, or can I just use my debit card in Spain?
Good question. Spain uses the euro, so if you want to exchange a small amount of cash before you leave, that's fine. It'll help cover any immediate expenses like a taxi from the airport or small purchases. But for most things, I'd recommend using your debit or credit card. Just check with your bank to see if they charge foreign transaction fees. It's also a good idea to notify your bank that you'll be traveling abroad so they don't block your card due to suspicious activity.
I hadn't even thought about that. I'll call my bank to let them know about the trip. What about using ATMs? Are they safe to use abroad?
Definitely. ATMs are pretty safe in most countries, including Spain. Just make sure you use ones at reputable banks and avoid sketchy standalone machines. Using an ATM is a good way to get local currency while avoiding bad exchange rates at currency exchange kiosks. Again, check with your bank to make sure you won't get hit with high fees for withdrawing abroad.
Okay, that makes sense. Now I'm feeling a little more prepared. But what about packing? Spain seems to have such a varied climate. I'll be there in mid-May. What should I bring?
Spain's weather can vary depending on where you're going. Madrid will be warm in May, probably in the high 20s Celsius, 70s to 80s Fahrenheit, but it can still be cooler at night. Seville, being further south, will be hot, closer to 30 degrees C, 85 degrees during the day. Barcelona will be pleasant, but it could get a bit chilly by the coast in the evenings. I'd recommend packing light, breathable clothes for the day and bringing a light jacket for the evenings. Also, comfortable shoes are a must. You'll be doing a lot of walking.
I was worried about that. I tend to overpack, but I'll try to keep it light. What's your strategy for keeping your luggage manageable?
I'm a big fan of packing cubes. They help organize everything and compress your clothes so you can fit more in your suitcase without overstuffing it. Also, I roll my clothes instead of folding them. It saves space and keeps things from wrinkling. And here's a tip: pack versatile clothes that you can mix and match. That way you don't need to bring a new outfit for every single day.
Packing cubes, huh? I'll look into those. What about toiletries and electronics? Should I bring my own or can I buy everything in Spain?
You can definitely buy most toiletries in Spain, so no need to overpack those. But if you have specific brands you like, bring them along in travel-sized bottles. As for electronics, don't forget that Spain uses a different type of plug, type C or type F, with a voltage of 230 V. Make sure to bring a universal adapter and check if your electronics can handle the voltage difference.
Oh, good catch. I completely forgot about the different plugs. I'll definitely bring a travel adapter. Speaking of technology, what's the best way to stay connected? Should I get a local SIM card?
Getting a local SIM card is a great idea, especially if you plan to use data for maps, translation apps, or staying in touch with friends and family. You can get a SIM card at the airport or in any convenience store in Spain. But if you don't want to bother with that, most places in Spain offer free Wi-Fi, including restaurants, cafes, and hotels. Just make sure your phone is unlocked if you're planning to use a local SIM.
I'll check with my phone carrier to see if my phone is unlocked. Thanks for all the tips. Now, let's talk about cultural differences. I know Spain has a rich culture, but I don't want to make any rookie mistakes. What should I be aware of?
Spain is a friendly, laid-back country, but there are definitely a few cultural things to keep in mind. One thing that surprises a lot of people is the timing of meals. Lunch is the main meal of the day, and it's usually eaten around 2 or 3 p.m. Dinner is much later than you might be used to, often around 9 or 10 p.m., so don't be surprised if restaurants are quiet before then.
Wow, that's really late. I'll have to adjust my eating schedule. What about tipping? Is it common to tip in Spain?
Tipping isn't as big in Spain as it is in other countries. In most restaurants, a small tip of around 5 to 10% is appreciated, but it's not expected like it is in the US. You can round up the bill or leave a couple of euros if the service was particularly good. In cafes or bars, it's common to leave some small change as a tip, but again, it's not a strict rule.
That's good to know. What about personal space and greetings? I've heard people in Spain are pretty warm and friendly.
Yes, they are. When meeting people in Spain, it's common to greet with a kiss on both cheeks, even if it's someone you're meeting for the first time. But if you're not comfortable with that, a simple handshake will do. Also, personal space can be a little different from what you might be used to. People stand a bit closer when talking. It's not considered invasive, it's just part of their social culture.
I'll keep that in mind. I'm not used to the cheek kissing thing, but I'll go with the flow. Anything else I should know about social etiquette?
Just a few more things. When you're in a restaurant or cafe, it's considered polite to say hello and goodbye to the staff when you enter and leave. A simple hola or adios works. Also, if you're invited to someone's home for a meal, it's polite to bring a small gift, like a bottle of wine or some dessert. It's a nice way to show appreciation.
That's such a lovely tradition. I hope I get the chance to visit someone's home while I'm there. Now, what about navigating public transportation? I'll mostly be using trains and buses. Are there any tips for getting around efficiently?
Spain has an excellent public transportation system, especially in big cities like Madrid and Barcelona. The metro is super efficient, and buses are also easy to use. If you're traveling between cities, the high-speed trains, known as AVE trains, are fantastic. You can book tickets in advance online. Just remember, Spaniards tend to be more relaxed about time, but the trains are usually very punctual, so don't be late for your train.
I'll keep that in mind. I've heard about the relaxed attitude toward time, so it's real.
Yes, especially in smaller towns or during the siesta time, which is typically from 2 to 5 p.m. During this time, many shops and businesses close for a few hours, especially in the south of Spain. But it's not as common in larger cities, where the pace of life is faster. It's just something to be aware of.
I actually kind of love the idea of a siesta. It sounds so relaxing. What about sightseeing? I want to see all the big landmarks, but I also want to explore off the beaten path. Do you have any recommendations?
You'll definitely want to see the major sites, like the Royal Palace in Madrid, the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, and the Alcazar in Seville. But for a more local experience, try wandering through the neighborhoods like El Raval or Gracia in Barcelona. These areas have a more authentic vibe with local cafes, street art, and fewer tourists.
Thanks, William. I'm so excited to experience Spain from both a tourist and a local's perspective. I can't wait to share our adventures with everyone.
Absolutely, Sarah. And to our listeners, we hope this conversation gave you some new travel ideas and a bit of language practice too.
Well, that's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get updates on all our latest videos. Thanks for tuning in to Spoken English Academy, where we make learning English easy and fun. See you next time.